Matthew 25:14-30. Jesus said to his disciples, "For it is as if a man going on a journey summoned his slaves and entrusted his property to them. To the one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to each according to his ability. Then he went away. The one who had received the 5 talents went off at once and traded with them and made 5 more talents. In the same way, the one who had the 2 talents made 2 more talents. But the one who had received the 1 talent went off and dug a hole in the ground and hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those slaves came and settled accounts with them. Then the one who had received the 5 talents came forward, bringing 5 more talents, saying, 'Master, you handed over to me 5 talents. See, I have made 5 more talents.' His master said to him, 'Well done, good and trustworthy slave. You've been trustworthy in a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master.' And the one with the 2 talents also came forward, saying, 'Master, you handed over to me 2 talents. See, I have made 2 more talents.' His master said to him, 'Well done, good and trustworthy slave. You've been trustworthy in a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master.'
Then the one who had received the 1 talent also came forward, saying, 'Master, I knew that you were a harsh man, reaping where you did not sow, and gathering where you did not scatter seed. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here you have what is yours.' But his master replied, 'You wicked and lazy slave, you knew, did you, that I reap where I did not sow, and gather where I did not scatter? Then you ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and on my return I would have received what was my own with interest. So take the talent from him and give it to the one with 10 talents. For to all those who have, more will be given, and they will have an abundance. But from those who have nothing, even what they have will be taken away. As for this worthless slave, throw him into the outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth.'"
If you were asked, what is the greatest wealth, the most valuable treasure God has entrusted to you, what would your answer be? I would suggest it is the richness and unfathomable potential of life itself. Imagine that in the parable we have just heard, we substitute the gold or talents the rich man has entrusted to the servants as God entrusting life to us. In Jesus' time, a talent was the largest measurement of wealth. It would usually have been gold, to the equivalent of about 15 years' average wages. The first 2 servants take their gold into the world and the wealth increases. The third servant, through fear, buries his gold. He does so because he's frightened that he might lose the little he has, but also because he is frightened of criticism. Many of us might sympathise with the cautious servant who buries the riches, and I wonder if that is because we have experience of burying some part of our own lives. In burying the joy and more often the pain in our lives, we can be at risk of creating our own shadowed realities, lives that are risk-free but that lack light. Not being our full and authentic selves can also prevent us from entering into a free and abundant relationship with God. To bury certain aspects of the pain in our lives can cause us to be deeply alone. It is to be less alive than God meant us to be. God has loved us into being, and we can have confidence to reveal our whole selves. Perhaps some of us can relate to the third servant because we have buried stuff. Most of us do. We bury our gold. So let's make the most of it by not burying any part of it. In remembering God's love for us, let us try to have the confidence to take any gold we may have buried back out into the light of the world. And what's more, let's encourage and support our brothers and sisters to dust off theirs. Amen.